High stepping Hines.
I figured you needed something after that bullshit elevator.
Listen,
Peace, peace.
Judah, my good brother, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Oh man,
Good evening.
bless. We happy to have you, man. Judah, this is my co-host, one of my co-hosts, the Jess, aka Jesse Brown, aka Jessero. Our other esteemed colleague, Lamonda, got sick last minute, so she sends her deepest apologies. She's usually here with the extra BS and ready and live, but she got sick
All
last
good.
minute. So
All good. Good
yeah.
to meet you.
Yeah, no, man. We thank you so much. When you told me you had another engagement last weekend, I was like, man, things happen sometimes, but we can't. We got great intentions sometimes, but sometimes we can't juggle it all. Like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our best
And,
efforts.
and I apologize to y'all because we talked and locked it in, but you trying to do everything, and then Roots picnic weekend. I'm a part of that, so that was just crazy. So I apologize, and I said I'm gonna make it up, and we here now.
Yeah, yeah, no, we thank you so much, man. It's a long time coming because I said I never actually got to sit down with you. It's
Mhm.
I know you by way of my guy Smoke, aka Matt. You did the project
Okay.
with him and Tone a long
Uh-huh.
time ago. You did I think it was the Love of Philadelphia or Philadelphia Love or something like that EP
Hmm.
with Tone, and I was like, man, Judah is so dope. And Matt always
Thank
said,
you.
man, he's an even better person. He's just a good dude. You got to sit down with him and talk to him sometimes. So it just
Mhm.
so happens that I got the platform now to be able to do that in. And
I
so
love it. I love it. It's
it
dope.
all
That's
came
awesome. I
together.
appreciate y'all having me on the platform too.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, question, man. You know, we always do our homework
Hmm.
before we do this. How do you go from in the youth playing football? Was it
Hmm.
Pop Warner football that you played when you were younger?
I mean, I played that. I played high school. I played D1, Double A, Division two. Then
Oh
I did a little
wow!
pro for it. So yeah, I played at all levels.
See what you find out. See what you find out when you ask these questions. See, you
Yeah.
can't. This is why you got to actually talk to people because Google or nothing else will give you the in-depth information like that because they made it seem like you played Pop Warner and then you just found a drum machine and was just going crazy.
Oh, nah. I played at all levels, man. I played at Robert Morris University, won three Division 1 Double A championships with them
What?
and Pittsburgh, and then I went to Bowie State and finished up at Bowie State. Then I was trying to the NFL thing for like 2 years. I was in Baltimore camp. I did the
What?
Commanders. Then I was going to do like CFL and Arena League, but they wasn't paying, so it just made more sense to use my degree and do something, that didn't break my body up.
Right, right. So, what position did you play?
I was a wide receiver slash tight end.
I knew it. I knew it. I don't know why I
Yeah,
knew you were a wide receiver. Right
yeah,
away, I said he just struck me as the wide receiver type of guy.
right.
That ain't that nothing, and you played all of those years. Wow. So
Yeah.
when exactly? So all those years were you playing football and producing, or when did the actual producing come into the fray for you?
Yeah, that came in like high school, late in high school. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really producing. I was just like everybody else. I'm sure y'all brothers can um are familiar with this, but getting your fathers or getting somebody vinyl, putting it on the JVC
Right,
turntable and recording loops and getting the homie to rap on a mic that's plugged into the JVC
right.
and that's horrible, or rapping into a headphone. Uh,
Yes.
that's a mic. So, me and my man Mike, we dabbled in that a little bit. And I remember it was a record that I always used to just put on a record player, and that was a War, Slipping in the Darkness. I played that record and looped that record and did everything to that record for years in high school. So that's kind of where I started. I didn't really get into getting equipment into college, but I was just doing that stuff on the JVC, the record player deck, you know.
So so you go from so your origin wasn't like somebody just threw me the something to sample a beat or I figured out how to. It literally was like the origin of hip hop. Most of the guys started back in the days. They was playing with the music from instrumental, or record, or a tape. Because I know when I started, what was I thought I was a DJ. I was recording off the radio and making and tape for my peoples and stuff like that. So it's amazing to hear how hip hop just comes from such humble things in so many
Right.
different spaces.
Right. So, I'm from DC, and so DC is huge into go-go. And so that's what they want you to do. You're either born to have a band, work in the federal government, work for Metro, or have a band. You know what I'm saying? And so I always like go-go, but I used to come home from school and what was on TV? Rap City. You know what I'm saying? Rap City or Video Jukebox. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the hip hop and rap just it resonated with me a little bit stronger than go-go. I was always in love with go-go, but just hearing what they was doing in hip hop just resonated. And then, right, this is the connection. So when I used to look at those videos on Jukebox and Rap City, um, I used to just wonder how they made those records. And then when you start dabbling into vinyl, you start coming across the samples that these guys were using in those rap records. And so when I was like, hold on, wait, I know I heard this before. It was a record on Rap City or the jukebox. And I was like, oh shoot, they took it from this vinyl. And that just blew my mind. So I was done after that. When I realized that, it was over. But I didn't know how they did it, but I know that they were getting the music from records.
So did you start digging in the crates?
Yeah, I started digging in the crates. My father had mad records in the garage. On those JVC towers, they had like a record storage at the bottom. So I would open
Mhm.
that joint up and it had records in there, and he had records in the garage. So that's how it all started for me. And then I found out that the thrift store had records, and it was just. But I was thinking I didn't have equipment in high school. I started getting equipment in college.
What was
Which
the
you say
first piece of equipment that you had that you?
The first one was it was called a Gemini DS 1224. It was like a little sampler. It looked like a mixer for record play, like for DJing, but it had like 12 seconds of sample on there, like four different banks. And
Mm,
so I had that. I had a Boss DR 550. It was like a drum machine, Dr. Boss Rhythm, a Roland drum machine.
mm-hmm.
And I think after that, I got like a four-track, a Tascam Porta 4, a blue four-track recorder. So that was kind of some of the first stuff that I got. Um, and you don't know, you just get it. You don't really know what you're doing, why you got it. You just know that they got sounds on it. You're trying to figure it out. But the crazy thing with that is, I realized that when I had the DS 1224 and the Boss. I knew that I couldn't sync them up. I didn't know how I could sync them up. They were two independent units, and I didn't know how you sync them up. So you would have to make a drum loop on the balls and just play the sample live. And I was like, how do I record this? How do I link it up and sync it up? And then later on, that's when came the Porter oh 04. And then after that, I got hit to like MIDI and all the bigger equipment with sequences and workstations.
Mm.
now who are some of your influences, like the Bomb Squad, Native Tongues?
Um, I mean, of course, the usuals, man. Dr. Dre, Pete Rock, Marley Marl, um, Chuck Brown, Chucky Thompson, who was from my area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, uh, I mean, Primo, like I liked a little bit of everything. I just love beats. I love what they was doing. And it was records, bro. It was records. Prince Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't talk about Prince Paul enough. Um, but yeah, all that stuff, man, it was just it made a difference to me. And I was really heavy on obscure rap, I would say at that time. So think of it like this. I was into like Steady B. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? From Philly and um, stuff like that. Just the obscure kind of rap, not the mainstream rap, but kind of the obscure stuff. And Steady B to me was dope, and I was just man listening to everything.
No, it's wonderful because you grew up, you had the option of getting so many different influences. So it
Right,
almost could have felt overwhelming knowing which direction to go in.
right. And you know what? Music when I feel like being from DC is a very unique thing because you hear music completely different. And
mm,
that's through the lens of go-go, and
mm.
that's funk, Latin music. It has a hint of uh, jazz. It has a hint of rap. It has all the elements in it, and you hear music differently. And so I'm so fortunate to be from here and to experience that and have that ear for that and traditional hip hop. You know?
Definitely bringing such a different blend and appreciation.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then you also realize too, it's like when you listen to go-go and you see what makes up a go-go band, then you think about, okay, how do they do these records? And you start looking at who played on drums, who played on horns, who played on keys. Oh, I know this funky if so and so, wrote the song or uh, you know, uh, Philadelphia was made in Philadelphia or it was made in Memphis at Stacks. You just
Right.
start seeing things, and but the understanding bands had you realize like certain players played a certain way, and they made certain records.
Right.
Well, piggybacking what you were just saying, we're living in a different era. We have, like this new generation. Some have never been to a concert. They've only streamed music. Can you tell us what Go Go was like at the Capitol Center?
Mm.
Oh my God, bro! Hey Jesse, that's a crazy question.
Yes.
Think of it like y'all in New York, right?
Yes.
All right, so think of Go Go Live at the Capitol Center, like Jay-Z at Madison Square Garden. Bro, I mean, it's full of people. You got a one night, multiple bands playing. It's like the Earth, Wind, and Fire show for the 70s. It's like just
Mm.
ridiculous. And I kind of slightly remember going to one. Um, and I remember going to the Capitol Center for a few different shows. But I remember going to one, and I can't remember if it was the Go-Go or if it was Michael Jackson at the Capitol Center. But I remember going to the Capitol Center back when it was open. And when I just tell you so many people, so much energy, um, just live music. And it's the same effect as the Jay-Z at Madison Square Garden.
I know,
But
but
you got multiple bands that are Jay-Z.
with choreographed movements in the brass section, I mean, like they gave
Choreographed
you a full
music.
stage
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, full stage show. They would bring people out, features, just like they bring out people now. Um, the outfits, they were dressed to a T, all coordinated. Like it was a beautiful thing, man.
Definitely. So that's one of the things that we like to get firsthand knowledge of people who were there, because it's a
Hmm.
different feeling. Like a Jay Z to a New Yorker is different to Jay Z in Virginia.
Right, 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 right. And I tell people, man, like, I'm sure everybody has a perception of go-go, but you brothers, if y'all haven't been down to DC and been to a go-go, you need to go to one before y'all die, before y'all expire. Like y'all gotta come down and go to a go-go. Y'all gotta eat chicken wings and mumbo sauce. Y'all gotta, come down and kind of see what's going on in the city.
I'm actually in Silver Spring right now, and
Okay, okay,
and I went for a year. I went to Morgan State, and
okay.
I knew nothing about go-go music, and
Uh-huh.
I come in contact with these DC dudes, and all I heard was young, young. You munchie, you gotta go to a go-go joint. You gotta go to go-go. And I'm hearing them listening to all of these classic. They listen to Backyard. I'm hearing the sardines, and I'm like, what is this, y'all? And then I went to a go-go and I lost my mind. Like, it is nothing like being in the
Trying to tell you.
actual atmosphere,
I'm
being
trying to tell
around
you.
people. I just last weekend went to a New Balance slash go-go event in
Oh,
DC.
you went to Great Days.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And they had the live go-go band. I'm like, I love DC. My man's
yeah.
is from DC, and he is as DC as DC gets. And
Hmm.
listen, man, from all the, I don't understand how everybody from DC is like an amazing historian about
Right.
DC. Everybody that I've ever met from DC has like an enriched understanding of the history of these. Like,
Yeah.
are y'all taught this in school? Like, how does everybody in DC have such? It's not even like local understanding of DC. Like, y'all seem to have a historical understanding of
Right.
DC.
But people don't realize DC is small, man. And if you have a certain reputation, everybody gonna know you. Everybody gonna know a story about you. Or my man know you. Or my man used to hustle with you. Or my man used to make music. Like we all know each other. We all heard each other's names. And that's how I know that a lot of the stories are true because you hear the same story told the same exact way from multiple people, and it's just the city, man. From DC to Maryland to Virginia, it's just the city. It is what it is,
Right,
and it's a smaller microcosm of how New York is. Legendary stories throughout the different boroughs. Like you know what I mean? It's the
right.
same exact way. Every state and city got the same kind of thing, but for us, we just so unique with our go-go. We so unique with our clothes and the type of individuals that were from DC that it made noise.
Yeah, yeah. No, 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 definitely. How do you go from though you playing? Cause I college and how demanding that schedule is being a college athlete. How
Hmm.
do you get enough time in your spare time to hone the beats to getting to that professional level? Like how did you get to the professional level through all of that?
The professional level of music, right?
Right.
Yeah. And when I was in college, um, I um, you know, I was introduced to a brother named Tori, and it was interesting because we used to talk about music, and he introduced me to a catalog called Musician's Friends. And I don't know if y'all remember this catalog, but it was a catalog that had like just mad music equipment in it, and you could order it. My first time seeing you could order it, and they would send it to you. And so in college, I still dabble with record players and whatever, but he really put me on to being able to mess with different equipment, order stuff. And then one weekend we went to his house in Indiana.
Mm,
And in the basement in Indiana, he had a full blown studio, like a Mackie 32 track board, drum machines, sound modules. It was my first time seeing a studio like that. And from there, I was like, this equipment don't this looked way different than the shit that I had because by that time I had ordered the Roland and the the DS-1224. I was like, this shit is way different than what he got in his studio. This is a different level. He had keyboards and all types of stuff. And so that really sparked my interest, man. And so when I would get my money from school or from little jobs and stuff, I would just buy equipment. You know what I'm saying? And I think that after that, that's when I bought the 4 track because he was like, "Yeah, you can't sync stuff up or you can't record stuff unless you got a recorder, a 4 track, a tape recorder, something.
Mm.
Because you can just play the drum machine out loud and sample and play it, live, but you couldn't record anything. But that 4 track changed everything because I was able to record stuff live and add vocals to it and everything, you know? So that was kind of that was life changing for me. So that's how I really got into ordering the right equipment, and it just took off from there. Took off from there.
When did it become real to you that this was a professional option?
And that's a great question, right? Because and I tell this story often, and so I'm done with football. I'm done with college, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, right? And so I'm living with my father, and I had by that time I had a couple keyboards, and he let me have like a makeshift studio in the back of the house. And so I was just back there trying to figure stuff out, play beats. And I found a way. This is my first attempt at like marketing. So I found a way to put a free ad in this paper called the Washington City paper. And the Washington City paper is a paper that has like all arts, shows, creative things in it. So I found a way to put an ad in the back of the Washington City paper, and the city paper came out every Thursday. And so my ad was in there every Thursday, and I used to just get calls and beats from people uh, calling about my ad. And hey, you make beats? I want to hear beats. And as one guy came through specifically, Jesse, he came through, and I just started playing them beats. And why did he say, "Oh, I like that beat. How much you want for that?"
Ah.
As soon as he said, Corey, just as soon as he said how much you want for that, I'm a business major, right? I'm a business major in my mind in entrepreneurship. As soon as somebody ask me how much you want for something,
Bluetooth disconnected.
you already know you got a business. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can monetize whatever you want. So when that happened, I was out of here. And then he came back like he bought like 2 or 3 beats that night. And I think I sold them for like $75 a piece. And then he said I'm gonna come back in 2 weeks. He came back in 2 weeks, and then I hit him with this joint. I said, "Yeah, what I played you last week was like the B, the C, the B, C beats. I'm gonna play you these A beats. These joints 150." He was like,
Ah.
okay." So then, and it was kind of a little bit better. But he bought like one of those or two of those, and so I realized that I could turn this into a business. I could do this. You know what I mean? So that's the moment that I realized when that brother asked me how much you want for it. I said, "Oh yeah, it's a wrap."
What a feeling! And was your family supportive?
Yeah, my father was supportive. Like I said, he had let me have it in the back of the house for a while. But after a while, you don't want everybody coming through to your house. When you lay your head and everything. And so he dealt with it, tolerated as much as he could. But probably a couple months after that, that's when I opened up my first studio
Mm.
in like 2000, late 2000, early 2001. That's when I opened up my first studio.
Oh wow. Where was
Yep. So I
that
opened
first
up my first.
studio at?
It was in Temple Hills, Maryland, off St. Barnabas Road, and I opened that up in a building over there, very small room. I had my keyboards. I had like computer speakers, these Altec Lansing computer speakers. Um, records, record player, kind of the bare minimum. And I used to just sit in that room and make beats, as much as I could.
While the ad was still running.
While the ad was still running, I started building up my name through that Washington City paper. And then, if you remember, y'all remember back in the day, 2001, 2002 was a heavy mixtape time.
Yes.
And so I used to be like, damn, do we have any mixtapes here? Because I remember getting mixtapes in New York, Canal Street. I remember like just heavy mixtapes. I'm like, damn, we don't have no mixtapes. Who doing mixtapes here? So I started doing mixtapes. And what I mean by I started doing mixtapes is I started bringing independent artists into the studio
Oh wow.
free of charge and record songs to my beats. And then I had a DJ in New York who used to send me like exclusives. So he would send me like Core Mega, 50 Cent, Mob Deep, all these different
Hmm.
exclusives he would get from the labels. And I used to put them on my mixtape with the local artists. And then I had my man Kevin duplicate CDs, do the jewel cases for me. I did the artwork on like some clip art, some weird stuff that was on a computer back in the day. And so I used to get the CDs pressed up and then wholesale them back to the artists that were on the mixtapes.
Ooh.
So, I would sell it to them for like $2 a CD. And in turn, they would go out and sell the CDs for like $5, $10. And
Mm.
so that's when I started like the Judah Percents thing. And I used to just have all the independent labels in the city just come to the studio. And then, naturally, they're like, oh, I rock with dude. How much for studio time? I'm charging $20 an hour for studio time back then. So it was also a way to get music out, marketing, get people in the studio to work with me. And then ultimately, they just started recording with me studio time, buying beats. And it's just natural progression.
Yeah,
Mm.
everything was sounds like it was built organically and just
Organically, bro.
natural networking and seeing who you actually vibe with. You gave them the choice if they want to or not.
Yeah, yeah. And Jesse, this is the thing. That's why people ask me, they always ask me, how do you still have a studio? How are you still doing this 26, 27 years? And I said, everything I've done has been organic. I do good business. I'm
Mm.
honest. Coming from DC, you don't meet too many people who have a brick and mortar business, a building, a studio for this long. Either they got robbed, they shut down, or they out of the business altogether. And so I'm 26, 27 years in, and
Wow.
it's because of those things. It's so organic, man. It's so organic. It's so honest. It's real, and people love the service and the environment that I create for them.
Wow.
Were you one of those people that are doing 24-hour shifts, making beats 2 in the morning, or did you have a set schedule? Since
Hey,
you came
yeah,
from a different background than a lot of different producers. What was your mentality going in?
yeah. At first, it was that. You know what I'm saying? But then, you realize too, you gotta get a job. You gotta do certain things like that. So I had, jobs and everything. And I would work those jobs, go home, shower, eat for an hour or two, then go to the studio, stay there till like 2, 3 in the morning, go home and sleep for a little bit, then go back to work. Um, and then I burned both candles at both ends. I did it all, you know what I'm saying? Well, I was in my 20s, so of course I could do that back then. You
Right.
know what I mean? But yeah, I spent a lot of time in that studio, man. I spent a lot of time working with people, a lot of time like on the craft, learning equipment, the EPS, the ASR, the MPCs, like just learning all the equipment, recording, um, and building those relationships. Relationships I still have to today, just of people just working with people. But I spent a lot of time in there creating stuff.
Hard work pays off. It shows out. Do you think the
Yeah.
DMV is finally getting the respect it deserves in hip hop?
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's been getting the respect. We have more artists signed nowadays. We have, with the internet and the way music is, we have more artists like getting recognition. And so I definitely think we have the spotlight and we have the stage, and it's been like that for a while, honestly. When I hear people talk about, oh, we don't get our shine, unfortunately, I think they're just a little bit. misinformed because and they don't really know all the different artists from the area that are doing great things worldwide. You know what I'm saying?
So definitely, you've worked with some people that have global, influence. Wale, Stat Quo. How
Yeah,
do those
yeah.
relationships develop?
It's funny because Wale, I met him, just out and about in the street, and this guy was like, "Man, you need to meet him. He can rap. He's good. He's good." And so, I introduced myself to him, and kind of brushed me off a little bit. And then he called me like a day later, like, "Hey, oh, I heard you're Judah. I need to come see you. Or I heard a lot about you. My bad, this and that." And so, after that, he came, to the studio. We built a relationship, and I met Kenny Burns, who's a big influence. Used to work at Rockefeller back in the day. He's from
Mhm.
DC, and we started Studio 43, which is the label that signed Wale, which broke him and started his notoriety and got him over at Interscope and out of here. You know what I'm saying? So that was organic. It was natural. Him, I mean, Stat Core, I met him, I think, just in New York or somewhere. And I like the fact that he can rap good and he was from Atlanta. And he didn't sound like an Atlanta artist. You know what I
Right.
mean? Him to Tabby Bonet, who's
What
dope
about
from New York.
Tabby? That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
How do you
I,
meet
yeah,
Tabby?
I was letting Korey come in on Tabby. I know.
yeah, yeah. Tabby, just knowing the same people, meeting. I heard of you before. Oh, I heard of you too. Cool. We got to get in, do something. And when I tell you, when anybody asks me who do I love working with, I mean, Tabby Bonet is definitely up there. He was so far ahead of his time, bro. He
Yeah,
was so far gone in
yeah,
terms of creativity and making records. And his demeanor, his personality, his approach to music is so different. And I miss that because he was just even keel. His demeanor is so kind of just chill, and he just make what he want to make. You know what I mean?
right.
And he was so far ahead of his time, like it didn't make any sense, bro. So for him, I mean, I don't work with just about all the top artists from the area and artists from around the world, like, but he was so far ahead of his time, and he knew he was so creative and knew what he could do. That's why he wasn't really tripping on music like that. You know what I'm saying? He making coffee, he taking pictures, he doing all other types of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Now, with all your experience and working with so many independent artists, do you feel almost a calling to be a mentor as well?
Yeah, I'm a mentor. I used to manage. I mentor through the Recording Academy because I'm a member of the Recording Academy, the Grammy chapter, and I mentor through them. I mentor people formally and informally. Like that's why the studio's still open as well. Like it's a hub for conversation, creative conversations. People want to pick my brain. I help them out with that. Like, that's how we should do. We should pass information along and help people out. Because this music game is treacherous.
Yeah,
Always has been. And building that
Mhm.
trust, must give you then a different advantage when you're collaborating with an artist because they can,
Yeah.
they're not afraid. They know you're not a yes man. They know
Mhm.
that you actually have like true input and feelings on what they're doing because that's your work as well as being reflected on.
Yep. And that's one thing that I think people appreciate because, um, probably for the past 10 years, 10, 12 years, I don't really do sessions with people that I don't meet or they don't come meet with me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even have any more open studio sessions. To book a studio session with me, you got to know somebody that know me, or you have to be referred to me. Um, and I think that's really what people be like, hey, this is serious. Or he respects the craft, or he respects the people he work with, and they got to. So it's a different vibe, working with me. You got to come to DC, or I'm flying to you. We got to meet. I got to look you in your eyes. You got to see if we cool to work with. I'm cool to work with you.
right.
Because we may be cool, but we might not can work together. You know what I'm saying? So I think when they experience that, that take them off guard. They're taken aback and like, damn, this dude is serious. He really about this music. And then they know I care about the music. You know.
Facts. I think nowadays with most producers, it's a lot of chop this little sound up, copy and paste, put that together. What do you like and what don't you like about the production game right now with producers with hip hop?
Mm. I think the only thing for me was the value of the producer or the value of the producer has decreased. You
Mm.
know, there was a wave for a time where people were selling 10 beats for $1, leasing beats.
Hmm.
And I think that really hurt the production game, you know? And unfortunately, it was a point in time where, that was just the thing, the type beats and, websites selling 50 beats for, $2. Like it was just wild type stuff, the wild, wild west. So I think that really hurt the production game, unfortunately. And I mean, it was a part of the timeline of music production, and it is what it is. Do I think producers have gotten better or worse? I mean, I think it's talented everywhere. Everybody can make a beat. Everybody can figure it out. But you know something? I know what's the distinguishing factor is, yeah, everybody can make a beat, but you gotta have a skill to sell that beat.
Mm.
Everybody can't sell a beat, man. They
Right.
can make a beat, but they cannot sell a beat or
Right.
sell a service to an artist. And unfortunately, that's where they take L's on. They can make 10 beats in 5 minutes, but get them to try to talk to an artist and sell and paint the vision and sell a beat. They looking dumb. You know what I mean? So it's an art to making beats and it's an art to selling beats as well.
Definitely. Now, when you talk about the art, what's the difference of someone asking you to produce a hit versus someone asking you to produce something that's timeless?
Mm.
Mm. But see, that's the thing. A hit. I mean, nobody knows what a hit is until it's a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I
But do
just make
anyone
music.
ever come in saying, "I'm looking for my lead single"?
Oh, of course, and you know, sometimes I turn it away. I just be like, let's just make some music. Let's
Right.
figure it out. Let's just make some music. Because I think you can really take a L trying to make a hit, and next thing you know, you're just making horrible records. You know what I'm saying? So, but also too, like that's one thing that I ask. If an artist come to me and that's what they're trying to make, 9 times out of 10, I don't even want to work with them because I already see what they're doing, what type of time they're on, and how they think about music and how they trying to approach music. So I'm like, nah, I'm not rocking with that. We don't have to work together.
Now, speaking of timelines, you started in the analog. We're in the digital era. Do you still have, your heartstrings get tugged when it goes to turning knobs versus clicking on a mouse?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm still on the MPC. I'm still on the keyboards and everything. So I still have all that stuff. I still got an ASR 10. I still got a Roland MV 8000. I got a 3062 Roger Link. Like I got all them joints. I still have all that stuff.
Oh wow.
Um, but the thing is, the new digital stuff makes things faster. And I love that. I used to hate loading up those zip disks and tracking beats out and all. I hated that. So I try to mix both, but I use both, man, and I just use whatever I like, the best of both worlds. And I'm not one of those guys where it gotta be all analog or it gotta be all digital. Like, no, I don't care about any of that. I just use whatever I got.
Did you teach yourself to be able to mix beats and stuff like that? Because I know I had a producer where he had such great ideas, but when we tried to actually put it together, it would always be off because my vocals are getting mixed well, and the sounds in his beats are all over the place. And he even went to school to try to learn this. and he could never grasp that part. How did you learn how to do that?
And that's funny you say that because they are all like crafts within themselves. Like making beats is a craft you got to master.
Hmm.
Mixing is a craft, art form. Mastering is an art form.
Hmm.
Recording vocals is an art form. I taught myself everything, and I spent a
Wow.
dedicated amount of years to each craft just to learn it and kind of figure it out. And I just wherever I go, wherever I work, I just try to learn something. I worked in hovercraft for a while, which is in Norfolk, Virginia Beach with Pharrell and them. Like, you just take stuff, little jewels from wherever you work and apply it. But yeah, I taught myself, man. I taught myself. I never went to school for this. Taught myself trial and error. And you do a rack of sessions, you're gonna learn. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna learn, you're gonna F up, you're gonna mess some vocals up, you're gonna fix it for free. Like you're gonna learn. So I just stayed my butt in that studio learning.
I think you underestimate your gift and your ability to do that because, like you said, usually those are all different people. Like
Hmm.
I have literally known, like I said, the producer that can just and somebody got to put it all together and make it sound good and make it sound clean. That's an
Hmm.
amazing gift that you have to be able to do all of that. Because even having the experience of being there with Pharrell and what was Teddy Riley in there at the time too?
Nah, that was the Neptunes era. That was the
Okay.
Neptunes and their era.
Okay.
So he was
Yeah.
up with Chad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's an amazing ability to do that, and you cut out. You can keep a whole lot more money in your pocket doing that as
Hmm.
well, not having to outsource all those things.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's one of the reasons why people like coming to me because it's a one-stop shop. You know what I mean? And um, they don't have to kind of go a million different places to get something done. And also, too, I pride myself on being a producer. I'm gonna deliver the whole record to you. Like I'm not just making a beat and sending it to somewhere far away and not really caring about what's being done to it.
Right.
I'm gonna see it through. So, I'm gonna deliver the full record. You pay me for it. I'm gonna deliver the full record to you. Record it, produce it, record it, mix, master it, and deliver the files to you. So that's how I grew up, and that's how I understand the role of producer to be, and that's what I try to do.
I play a lot of video games. Got to know, how did Riding in That Black Joint get on Saints Row 2 video game soundtrack?
Wow, and that's like almost to this day. Was it like 7 million sold, 8 million sold of that video game? Um, a funny story. During that time, there was a record out with Birdman and Lil Wayne called "Stunt Like My Daddy,"
Of course.
and I love that record so much. I love the beat. I did the lyrics. I didn't really care about, but I love the beat and the format of that record, right? And I said, I'm gonna make something like that. Me and Wale was in the studio. I had a motif at the time,
Hmm. The piano,
a motif, yeah, a keyboard,
keyboard.
the
Yeah.
Yamaha motif, and I said I'm gonna make a beat similar with the same energy as that, like "Stunt Like My Daddy." And if you listen to it, it's the same arrangement,
Oh wow.
the same uh, flow arrangement as "Stunt Like My Daddy." Same exact thing. We just did it, and we made a lot of records, throughout our time working together, and we just had it in a stash. And then Wale manager at the time, I sent him a bunch of unreleased stuff, and we were just trying to see what stuff was gonna go. And I sent him that. He was like, "What is this?" So we just made it, and he was like, "All right." And then like 2 days later, he was like, "Y'all want on a video game?" I was like, "Cool. I don't play video games. Sure." And next thing you know, we were doing the paperwork for it.
Wow.
And then everybody that come to the studio because they see the plaque in the studio, and they like, man, I played that song, I played a video game. To this day, I've never played that video game. I don't play video games.
What?
And they tell me they just cut it on the radio in the car and let it play. And I'm like, and then you know what else funny happened after that? I made that record, and then the folks from the video game company came to me and said, hey, like, we like the sound of the song. We want to give a guy a new shot. Do you want to, take a stab at, executive producing or being a music supervisor for the music that's in the video game? I was like,
What?
sure, it comes with some money. So all the music in the different stations and all that, that's all me, doing it.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so that turned into a bigger check and a bigger way for me to do things.
What?
It was dope.
So
It's amazing.
I got a major question because you've dropped so many gems, and I know so many producers who are struggling to try to do what you seamlessly transition into, which is making money, making beats. What would be your advice for a producer coming up nowadays that's trying to take their craft seriously and get paid to to produce as you've been able to do seamlessly?
I think the production game has changed greatly, man. And I think first they got to know if they're a producer or they're a beat maker. You know what I'm saying? I have like fellas, you know how many artists come in my studio with beats from a person that they never met and they don't know where that person is.
Mm,
And that person who made the beat is not in the studio with us. And I got to tell the artist to get in the C sharp major. I got to change the beat around. I got to arrange the vocals.
mm,
In essence, I'm really producing the record. You know
mm,
what I mean? And then, for the past 10 years, if I'm doing that, I'm asking for half the publishing because
yeah.
I'm producing a record, right?
Of course.
So I think they have to realize, are they beat makers or are they really producers? If you talk to a lot of beat makers out here, they don't want to go to the studio with nobody. They don't want to be sitting in the studio telling the artist how to flow or what to do. They don't want to do any of that. So in essence, they're the beat maker, and
Mm,
they're leaving it to the engineers and the others people in the room to bring the record to life and make a record. So at the end of the day, they got to determine what they want to do. Are they a beat maker or are they a producer?
that was a
Now,
that was a
before
And
you
then,
mentioned,
once they figure that out, then the money gonna come the way it should come, depending on what way you want to go.
once they find their lane and they stick to it, and then you focus on what you want to accomplish versus trying to be
Yeah,
spread out all over the place.
because producer, you're gonna get the money. If you just sending beats, you're gonna get treated like you just sending beats. There's
mm,
no respect. I paid him or her, work for hire, take this money and go on about your day. But if I'm the producer, you're gonna value my input. You're gonna want me to be around. You're gonna want me to mix the record. You're gonna want me to sit in the session. And of course, that comes with a bigger payday.
mm.
Now you mentioned you had your plaques on the wall.
Mhm.
What was your first plaque?
My first plaque was, and I don't even really talking about plaques because plaques mean absolutely nothing when you really think about it.
Right.
But it's a plaque from like Koch Records, E1 Koch, for these projects I did on that. I did a bunch of independent projects on those that label, and that was my first plaque.
Follow up question. Do you know the current location of your Grey Goose Complex Rising Icon Award?
You know, I don't, I don't. I have the magazine with it. I have the magazine and the kind of how they all the winners and everything, but I don't know where those things. I don't know.
Look, man, we value your time and we thank you
Mhm.
so much for sitting down with us. What is the next thing that you will be doing that people can check for, whether it be something live, a
Mhm.
project? What's the next thing that we could look forward to hearing from Judah?
I mean, I got a lot of projects out right now. I got probably 8 or 9 projects out. You know, I pride myself on finding artists doing EPs with them. I don't chase placements. I create my own projects, and
Mm.
I got mad projects out with dope artists. It's all on my Spotify, the YouTube, Apple Music. Like, I just got mad projects out with people. We have the Sanctuary Festival tomorrow. You and Silver Spring come through. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
wow,
Tomorrow, 2 to 6.
where's
Um,
that at?
the Go Go Museum.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna pull up there.
Yeah, 2 to 6. I'm gonna send you a link to it. And like I just got so much music. I'm doing big commercial right now. Working with a bunch of different artists. I have a commercial that I'm trying to finish up. Still doing movies and stuff, or scoring movies and films for Netflix and Amazon and Tubi. I'm just working, man. I'm only doing stuff that excites me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So just mad stuff out here.
Where did your love for BMX bikes come from?
I used to love them. Mongoose, Diamondbacks. I used to ride them joints back in the day. I'm gonna post a picture too. I'm gonna show y'all. I built my own bike a couple years ago, but I
What?
never. But yeah, I'm gonna clean it off and I'm gonna take a picture of it. I built it from scratch. Frame, tires, grips, brakes. I built it all from scratch. So I'm
Oh,
gonna take a picture of it. I don't ride like that, but I just always love the aesthetics of bikes, the mag wheels, the pegs, the colorways. I always love that stuff. And I remember watching a movie back in the day called Rad,
Of
R-A-D.
course.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? And that joint had me like, and then I got California Games, which had
yes,
BMX
yes. Oh,
course on there. So
okay.
I just always liked the aesthetics around BMX and bikes.
That's awesome. No, that's part of the DMV culture is always having your own flavor and their own customizations, and that comes
Yeah,
throughout in all your production as well, because
yeah,
no one
thank you.
else is like Judah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Judah, man, we thank you so much, man. We know you back in the studio doing some amazing stuff. Cause like I said, when we were trying to link, I was like, man, when you available? You're like, I'm always working, but I can take a second out to get to chat with y'all. So
Right.
we
Right.
thank you so much for sitting down, and I know you've given us so many gems and dope stuff that people gonna watch this. I had so many people hit me up because I've
Mhm.
been going to. I don't know if you know, but a lot of the producers have been having these events in the DMV area, and I've been going to a lot of producing events where
Mhm.
it's just been a bunch of dope producers just in there, and they got their 10-minute sets, and they
Mhm.
get busy, and they having spectators come through and see what they doing, and artists
Mhm.
coming through, some performing, some buying beats off the producer. It's just been really dope.
Mhm.
But a lot of them follow me. And when I said I was going to be interviewing, they saw I was interviewing. I was like, "Oh my God, we can't wait to see that." Oh my God,
Right.
this is one
Right.
of my
Right.
favorite. Like
Appreciate
you are
that.
such a
Bluetooth disconnected.
legend. I
Mhm.
mean, an iconic legend to even the younger generation that you wouldn't even think y'all tapped in with Judah. Yeah, like last weekend, all kinds of dudes was coming to me like, "Yeah, I gotta check that joint out. You do it with Judah." So you're not just doing what you're doing for yourself. You are sprinkling so much to even the younger generation now, man. We just had to give you your respect when we could, and so you could give these gems and everything to everybody, man. We thank you so much.
All good. I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, I'm glad we're able to do this. I owe y'all another one too. So bring me back for another one when y'all figure out, some time. Bring do another one and get a part 2 of this in and get some
Yes,
more
sir.
content. and all that good stuff. And I appreciate y'all flexibility and having me on here, and just thank you for for allowing me to be on your platform.
Yeah, man, and shoot me that information for the joint tomorrow. I'll definitely pull up.
I will. I'll shoot it to you, and it's gonna be a good time. Movers and shakers in the room, a lot of heavyweights, good music, dope people. So, definitely, I'll send you all the information.
Yes,
And
sir.
thank you so much for all your contributions to hip hop.
All right, thank you, man. Awesome questions, y'all. I appreciate everything. I'm glad we was able to do it, and I'm around for part two, three, four, five, six, all of them. So whenever y'all need me, I'm here.
Oh, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right,
All right,
Thank you.
be safe. Peace.
you too.